Hello friends, this is Gina. Welcome to the TheReBookery channel. Today I'm going to do number 2 in my new series called Days of Summer. And in this one I'm going to show you a little bit about what my actual journal is. It is a weekend crafts binder that I found at a thrift shop for 50 cents. I couldn't let it go. I felt like it needed a new home. So my original plan was that I was going to use all of the pages that came with this binder. And this binder was intact, like it had all the original stuff. I don't think it was ever used. So there was like some pattern paper there. There's some index. Those maroon pages are like thicker cardstock for the index dividers. And then the small pages that you're looking at right here, they're kind of thick. They're not thin by any means. And then they have like a shiny veneer or a shiny surface to them, so that might cause some problems. The other thing was they had these really cool envelopes that you just saw. So I took the binder and I did a lot of changing. I sanded it first. I used paint. I added some vintage maps and just some collage material. And then I want to do a dictionary theme throughout this journal. So I added some text from a dictionary. And so here is what I've gotten done so far. And I've actually made some pages because originally this was going to be a journal that I was going to use on a trip that I'm going to take this summer. But I realized that I could actually put more things in this journal than just that trip. So these are some pages that I had actually done, and prepared for when I take this trip. And then I left some pages blank just because I don't know, I may want to change it up, and then I didn't put those in the journal. But so yeah, this is what I have so far, and I'm thinking that I'll use, here's some of the blank pages, and I decided that I was going to use some of these blank pages for the spread that I'm getting ready to do now. Sorry, these are like 2 different videos that I have put together. And it's been a couple of days since I've done this, so I'm kind of fumbling around here. So, okay, here's where I'm going to show you my first entry. So day 1 of Days of Summer. So I already did the title page, and now this is going to be day 1. So I'm going to take 2 of those blank pages, and I'm putting them together because I know this is going to be a large spread. And then I pulled out an automobile repair guide. I know, this is crazy. Just go with me on this. So I've had this book for a really long time. I don't know, there's something about it that I love. The pages are thin and they're kind of falling apart, so I wouldn't use it for a journal. But that cover is just, I don't know, it's kind of cool. And I think it's from like 1976, so that makes it even cooler. But I'm going to the Volkswagen section, which I've pulled almost all the pages out of the Volkswagen section just for different projects. And I'm going to use these pages because I want to cover up the original pages to that binder. And I thought, hey, why not cover them up with Volkswagen themed material, because this page is all about Volkswagens. So I am obsessed with Volkswagens, always have been. And so is my husband. And I'm also obsessed with van life, living in a van. And so you put those 2 together and oh my God, I just got crazy ideas of taking an old Volkswagen bus and redoing it, and then going camping and stuff. I wouldn't want to live in it because I need my space, but just going camping and stuff in it, oh my God, that just makes me giddy. So anyway, our first day of summer break just happened to be a Volkswagen festival down in Springfield, Missouri. So we went, and that's actually pretty ambitious of me. Usually on my first day of summer break, I do nothing, like literally do nothing. But, my summer's a little short this year, so I decided we need to embrace this. So we went to this festival and it did not disappoint. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking the original pages, and then I'm going to go and just glue down some of those Volkswagen repair pages from that book. And then I'm just going to trim off the excess. And you can see they're just glued haphazardly and upside down and all that good stuff. And I'm fine because this is not the focal point. This is just the background. So I'm going to take it over to my sewing machine, and I'm going to add a bunch of random stitches just to kind of adhere the paper a little bit more, and make sure that my holes, so that I can put it back into the binder, I want to make sure those guys are nice and sturdy. I always like to stitch the hole, like in front of the holes and behind the holes. I'm also pulling out this fabric. Now, I've had this fabric in my stash for a couple of years now and just didn't know what the best thing to do with it was because it was so gorgeous. Well, I know, because there is a Volkswagen, and I'll talk to you more about that in a second, but it has that fabric. Okay, so now I'm going to pull out this fancy dancy calendar. This was from a girl that bought a journal from me. You might know her channel or her Instagram. It's My Life Mitts, and her name is Mitts, and she bought a journal from me a while ago, probably a year and a half ago. And of course, I messed up her order and I sent her the wrong journal, and she was so sweet about it. Anyway, she sent me this groovy calendar, and this calendar is for the entire year of 2019, and it's got this really thin paper, and it tracks the moon. And so I thought in this journal it would be really cool to use the papers from that calendar. So that's what I did, is I just put down the date from that calendar. Now I'm going through one of my most favoriteest golden books. It's called Golden Books of Cars, and I have 2 or 3 copies of it. I haven't put any in my store yet because I just don't want to get rid of them because I love them so much. But I've used a torn up one in my journaling several times. And so that's what I was showing you, was that page, this is the last of the torn up book that I have. And it was perfect because there was a Volkswagen bus, or a bus that looked like a Volkswagen bus. And so I was just showing you that I pulled it from a book called Cars from Little Golden Books. Anyway, this is going to be a very photo heavy spread. And so I have lots of photos, and so I'm going to spend a lot of time like rearranging them and figuring out where I want to put them so that it's just not, overload, but yet I'm able to get all my photos on. So my photos are printed on my Epson PictureMate. I think I have the dash. It's no longer made, and the inks are very hard to find, and I'm down to like 6 ink packs, and then I'm done, because you can't find the ink packs anymore because they don't make them. And stupid me, I thought it was broken, and so last fall I found one on eBay, found a printer, bought it, and then realized my original one was not broken. So I have actually 2 of these printers. Anyway, so I printed these off, and I think they are 2x3s. That's one of the things I love about this printer, is that you can make your photos several different sizes. So I printed all of them off 2x3, and I'm going to actually trim a few of them up. So this one right here that you see, I didn't need all of the background of that picture. So I thought, why not just cut it in the shape of a circle, and it could mimic the moon that was on that calendar. So that's what I did, and I really, really love that. I think that's kind of cool. So now I'm going to take, this is a photo of me doing a selfie, and I was up on a hill, and all of the VW buses and campers were in the background, and so I'm going to have that be my lead photo. Like that's going to start us off. And so I'm just rearranging, figuring out where I want to put it. I ultimately decide that because my face is like half of my face, it needs to come from one of the edges of the paper because that's where it looks more natural. So I ultimately move it over to that side, and then this VW bug, this was probably my favorite, and it was because of the color. It was because of the year that it was made, but it was also because it had a luggage rack. And anytime they throw a luggage rack on a VW, oh my God, I'm hooked. Like, I don't know, there's just something about a luggage rack on a VW. It just makes me giddy. I'm using a China marker, which is not a marker. It's actually a pencil. It's a wax pencil, or a grease pencil, I think is what they used to call them. And it writes on pretty much everything. So I'm using that to go around my photos. That's going to be my border, because there's going to be so much going on in this. I want to keep it very simple. And I think this black border that goes throughout the whole spread will be perfect for pulling everything together. And then it just keeps it very simple, but it does draw your eyes to the photos. So as we were going through, we're looking at all the different Volkswagens, and of course my husband's favorite are the Carmen Gias, and so I had to take pictures of, there were 3 of them. This was a small Volkswagen show, so there wasn't a lot here, but what was here was very much worthwhile. So I took some pictures of him walking by that, and just different Volkswagen bugs, and then I decide that I'm going to save like the last part of this spread, because it is so large with all these 2 pages and that fold out. I'm going to save it for the best part of the show, which was a Volkswagen bus that, well, actually it's a camper. It's a Westphalia, or a Westie as Volkswagen people call it. And it is it's like my unicorn. It's the one, I dream of it. And so they actually had one at the show, and it's orange. No, it's green. I'm sorry. It's green with an orange pop top, and it had the original plaid interior, which is why I'm using that plaid fabric. And I was like jumping up and down. I was so excited because I had no idea it was going to be at that show. I don't really know much about Volkswagens, but I do know that green Westphalia with the orange pop top and the plaid interior is like a thing. So I've actually seen there's a couple online. They're on YouTube, and they're in Australia, and they actually live in theirs. There's one I found on Facebook for $40,000. No, thank you. And then there was this one that was at the show. So it must be a thing. That must have been a model that came out with those colors and everything. But it is amazing. So anyway, okay, so sorry, I veered off track here. So I'm just putting down some photos of some different Volkswagens that I saw, and kind of trying to put in a few embellishments. You'll see I have that little peace sign. It's actually a playing card, and I want to include that somewhere, but it takes me forever to figure out where to put it because the shape. And when I cleaned up my room a couple weeks ago, I did a whole room clean out, like dumped everything on the floor and redid everything. I found these little Post-it note. They're clear arrows, and I love them. I had forgotten about them. They were buried in a box somewhere, so those were handy, and I thought that would be a great embellishment to use because I love that color. It plays off of the greens and the oranges really well, and it's translucent, so you can see through it, and it's also got some space where I can do some journaling. So I'm going to use that as like a main embellishment, which I know isn't very exciting, but again, there's so much going on in this spread that I want to kind of keep it simple. Okay, so there it is. There's the Westie. And it's just gorgeous, and I took so many pictures with it. So I think what I'm going to do is use that pocket, and I'm going to make a tag. Now, going back to the calendar that Mitz sent me, it had a really cool cover, and I'm going to pull it out. There it is right there. Had a really cool cover of all these constellations, and I think I'm going to use it on this journal spread. I think I'm going to use it for the tag. It has nothing to do with the spread, but it's just a part of the journal that I'm going to continue with those date papers, and I don't know, I think it's kind of cool. So this is going to be some extra space for me to be able to put extra pictures, and I think I'm able to get like 4 extra pictures, and I'm going to stick those on, and then, I'm in creative mode here, so like nothing is matching up and everything's kind of lopsided, but in true Gina Johnson style, I guess I just need to go with it, because that's pretty much how most of my journal spreads go, lopsided and haphazard. So yeah, I get over it pretty quickly. I took just weird photos, like of the interior and of the back, and just things like the swivel chair. They had a swivel chair, and that's like evidently in van life, that's a huge thing to have a swivel chair. So yeah, I wanted to include all of those, and I actually do a pretty good job of getting them all on there. I think I end up with just like 2 photos at the end, and I actually do find a place for them. It's funny when you journal, especially with like when you have an idea. So like I have an idea and I want to use all these photos. It's like a puzzle, and you're trying to figure out where every last piece is supposed to go. And it's kind of cool. I love how it works out, because then in the end, it's like when you find where that last piece goes, it's like, oh, I completed the puzzle. I don't know, it's just some sort of self-satisfaction when you do that. What you just saw me use was this little Brad. It's like a Volkswagen type car. I've had these Brads for probably 15 years, and I got them when my son was young and he played with cars, and I have just like 2 or 3 of them left, and so I thought that would be perfect. And it'll be just like a little place to hold another photo. I took the tag over. Oh my goodness. Do you hear that bird? That is crazy. So I'm outside, and my deck is literally up in the trees. So sometimes I will get the craziest birds. That's not one of my normal birds. So yeah, I'm going to have to go get my binoculars and see what kind of bird it is. Anyway, sorry. Sorry, so distracted. Okay, so where was I? Oh, yeah. So I took the tag over and I sewed it down. And then now I'm just going to place the rest of these photos on, and I'm still trying to find out where that stinking piece card is going to go. And you'll see I figure it out here at the very last minute, and it's like perfect where it goes. These last photos were just ones of like vans, how they were decorated, and they're not really decorated. They just have tons of stickers on them, and I thought that was so cool. And so I pulled out some of my just weird stickers, just like stickers I get off of merchandise and things like that. Or if I go somewhere and they sell stickers, I always try to buy one. And so I wanted to replicate that. But what I realized is that my journal spread, even with all this extra pages that I had on it, it's just too busy. And so I had to nix that idea and not use it. I did end up and use 2 stickers. I think they were the North Face stickers, and I put them on the plaid pocket, but that was about it. I'm not going to be able to use any more stickers, because then it would just be way too full. So here we go with pictures fitting in their perfect place. Just so happens that this picture fits perfectly right there. And so I can add it. Put the black border around it, and it looks like it's meant to be there. I love the, I don't know if you can see that one photo on the right-hand side. It's my part of my head, but it was the inside ceiling of one of the vans, and they had glow-in-the-dark stars. Of course, it was painted dark blue on the inside, which was awesome. Glow-in-the-dark stars, and then they had a gigantic map. And so they would lay there and look at the stars. and then plot out where their next adventure would be. And I think that is really awesome. So now I'm just going to go fill in all of these blank spaces with the arrows and try to find where that silly card is going to go. I know that Golden Book page needs a little something, so I'm just going to add some washi tape. And this is some cute little washi tape that I grabbed because it actually has all of the colors that I was using. So here's all these stickers. And again, I try to figure out, can I put these stickers anywhere? And it's just too full. And then it hits me. That circle needs a partner. And so that's where that peace sign is going to go. And it looks perfect there. It looks like it was supposed to be there. It looks like that's the first thing I started off with. And so now I'm trying to figure out, can I add any other stickers? Here's where I'm going to put the North Face stickers on. And that's kind of fitting too, because the reason why we have those North Face stickers is because we bought some equipment for our upcoming trip. So that's cool because this journal is going to have documentation of our trip that's coming up. And so I'll carry that theme throughout. And I'm just kind of going through and putting these arrows on where I know I want to do a little bit of journaling. And I don't think I do the journaling on film because I don't know. I can't do my journaling on film. There's just something about it. I have to have time to think. So I think at the end, though, I do show you what I wrote, and it was very list-like. It was just like, I like this. This is what I saw. This is my favorite. I don't even think they were complete sentences, and that's perfectly fine to journal that way. I'm not a person that starts off my journaling like, well, we woke up on Saturday and went to blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Telling a story is just not, I mean, I'm a good storyteller, but to write it, it's for me, I go back and I read it and I'm like, oh my God, I was so cheesy. Now, other people do it and they do it beautifully, and I aspire to be like them. But man, I just cannot write a story. So when I go to do my journaling, and I've done it before, like when I was scrapbooking, I would do that and I'd go back and read it and I would cringe and I was like, oh my God, that sounds so cheesy. That's not me. And so when I started journaling, I tried it again and it just felt so fake because that's just not me. And so then I was like, you know what? I don't have to do it that way. So I don't, and I list and I just write phrases and it's perfect. It works perfectly for me and I don't cringe when I go back and read it. Okay, so here is the finished spread, and oh man, it is a mega spread. Notice on the front page of day one, I wrote Springfield, Missouri. I actually go back and I change that, and you can see where I've changed it. I put a sticker there. So here's after I went and did my embellishments. I had some Volkswagen type stamps, and so I put a few of those on. I added just a little bit of journaling in those arrows, and yeah, it's done. And I really, really love it. Now, because this is days of summer and I don't go do things like this every single day, my entries are going to be pretty sparse. So I don't have anything coming up that I will be doing in this journal because I'm getting ready to go on my trip. But I do have some videos coming up that I am going to share with you guys. Okay, kiddos, I will see you later. This video has gone on for far too long. I hope you are healthy. I hope you are happy. And I hope you do something creative today. Bye.